All good? Yay. Thank you very much for coming today. Um, it's a big time, and there's a lot of kind of detailed information that we need to get out to the community. I'll do this orally, but we also have written materials that kind of help you keep up with the details, because it's very important that people get the tight points as well. So I want to thank the people that are with me here today. This is Amanda McMillan with United Way. Whoops.
One more.
Yeah, Amanda McMillan with United Way. Pastor James Lee with Bethel's Heavenly Hands. Tanya Dixon with Community Faith Church. Monica Perez, Catholic Charities, the Mamie George location. Reverend Dr. Mark Brown with West Houston Assistance Ministries. And one of our biggest donors, Terrence King with Americold. So today we're going to talk about our crisis overview response plan. So the first thing is to kind of just give some background of how the shutdown is playing out in terms of creating a significant amount of stress and need for families in our community. There are about 50,000 federal employees in the greater Houston area, plus about 5,000 military members in our area. The military members so far have continued to be paid. We're not quite sure what will happen at the end of the month, but that's the federal government is indicating that they intend to pay the military members. They have stopped paying the federal employees. The middle of the month, the federal employees received a partial check, and the checks that basically were due the 24th through basically yesterday, those have not been paid. So they're now missing a full paycheck plus. To put that in perspective, the Kinder Institute tells us that 43% of Houston area families do not have $400 that they can call upon in an emergency. Losing your paycheck is very much an emergency, and losing a paycheck is a lot more than $400 for most of these families. Some of those federal employees will have savings that they'll be able to pull upon. It's something you don't want to do, take away from your investments, but they probably can weather this storm at least for a while. But a significant proportion of them are in trouble, especially when you think that rent or mortgage payments are coming due in many cases at the beginning of the week. So those families are really hurting. In addition to that, in our area, there are about 425,000 households who rely upon SNAP every month to help them make ends meet. Those benefits will stop being paid effective November 1. Now, it's important to recognize how SNAP is actually allocated in Texas. So the way Texas does it is they don't load all the cards on the same day. They spread it out over the first 28 days out of the month. So effectively, each day, on November 1st, for instance, 15,000 households have their SNAP cards loaded. Then on the 2nd, another 15,000. And then a third, another 15,000. That also means that some SNAP households just recently as today, will have had their SNAP cards loaded. So some of the families in that first week, they have not had their cards loaded in a month. They're in trouble right away. And the average SNAP amount per household is about $330. So that is a very significant amount of money that these households were relying upon, and quite frankly, our economy was relying upon, because they then use this money to go in supermarkets and purchase food for their families. So that impact effectively will start next week. So we are thinking of this like we would a hurricane. This is a really large surge in need that we're being confronted with. Fortunately, there's a couple of advantages that this particular area has. We always accumulate a significant amount of disaster relief supplies prior to every hurricane season. If we don't need them, but some other food bank does because they get hit in Florida or Louisiana, we ship it to them. We don't hoard it. Well, not only did Houston area not get hit, but neither did anyone else. So we will be able to call upon that. Now, we were planning on using the surplus disaster boxes for share your holidays later in the year. We're not going to hold on to that. So that's about 20,000 disaster boxes that we're going to be able to pull upon, add into this stream. It sounds like a lot, but the numbers I just gave you, 425,000 SNAP households plus 50,000 employees, a portion of them, it's not enough. In addition to that, though, we also, if you'll remember, when we responded to Hurricane Beryl and the summer storms last year, some of the supplies we used were federal commodities, and because that was a federally declared disaster, those were eligible for us to essentially get those back from the government. USDA owed us those commodities back. So it's taken a while, but right now is when we're getting that resupply. So the timing for us actually is playing to our advantage. But bigger than that, we turned loose our procurement team and said that we will go ahead and deficit spend to significantly ramp up our procurement of food, and we're going to be emphasizing items like you see there. The produce that is not quite ready to go because the volunteers need to rebag it, but we can get it super, super cheap because this is surplus produce. The rice, similarly, this is rice that has a little bit more brokens. We get it in bulk. The volunteers work it, and we can get it out in the community. So we get real good leverage on these dollars, and we're committing a lot of our reserves to try and cover that, and hoping that we get donations to basically pay that back. So what's our plan? Well, we have to recognize that even with everything I've said here, we have to make sure that we stay very targeted. We already serve about 1 million people in our 18 counties, all our partner organizations working with us, about 1 million people a year. The amount of food we're going to be able to do, if we spread that out, is just not going to be deep enough when you look at how much of a loss these households are dealing with. So we've got to concentrate a lot of resources on these households. So we're doing a three-prong approach. Okay, so the first prong, for the federal employees, we've reached out to all of the federal agencies and unions to say we are willing to do direct distributions with you. So you gather the employees who are struggling, whether they're furloughed or continuing to work, and we'll bring the truck. We'll bring the food. In addition, we are offering then to those employees that they will be able to dip into some of the special distributions that we're doing. And then for the SNAP households, our strategy is we're doing these super sites, but we need them to pre-register so that we are serving each week the households that cards weren't loaded for that week. If they were just loaded the week or two before, I get it, those can use some extra help, but we've got to concentrate this additional surge in supply to the households who are going to be really struggling because they've got zero. So we're going to be doing these super site style distributions. So in order to do that, it's a lot of coordination to do. As I said, getting people to pre-register and stuff. And so we are having, for the federal employees and the SNAP households, we're working with the United Way and their 211 system to basically get that information, to do the pre-registration work, so that when they go to do a pickup, they have to show their code that was provided by 211. Or we do have a direct website address, houstonfoodbank.org/crisis response. So they pre-register, and then they can go to the super site distributions. We'll have the ones that we're doing directly, and I'll announce those in a moment. But also, the partners that we have here are doing additional super sites distributions specifically using this framework at least once a week, and that's Bethel's Heavenly Hands, Community Faith Church, Mamie George Site for the Catholic Charities, West Houston Assistance Ministries, and Hearts and Hands of Baytown. So again, these all require pre-registration, and they're given a code by calling 211. United Ways, they got the big site that does that. We do food. We have 60 trucks that we can run around to do that, but we don't have anywhere near the capacity United Way has to be able to route people to the services that they need. Or you can go to a website, houstonfoodbank.org/crisis response. Now, the first two distributions, the first one is actually tomorrow, October the 29th. That is only for the federal employees. Okay. Already some of the federal employees are like they provided their their staff members who are in need with the information on how to register. This distribution will be from 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock at HISD's Barnett Stadium. Pre-registration required just for the federal employees. Again, the SNAP recipients have actually not had the cut happen for them yet. That starts on Saturday, the first of the families who are saying, uh-oh, my card is now worth nothing. So on Saturday, we have our second distribution. It will be at NRG's Yellow Line. Just like they did before, we're very thankful that NRG's stayed willing to do that, and appreciative of the Houston Texans for putting a good word for us to get us that site, because it costs them a lot of money when they do that for us. That will be November 1 from 9 to 1, and that will be both for federal workers and for the SNAP households whose cards are not being reloaded in that first week. Okay? So not everybody, not the full 425,000. We can't possibly do those kinds of numbers. But that first week households will happen then, and then we will commit to do these super site distributions at least twice a week, large scale, for as long as it takes us, and provided that we're able to keep the resources going in. We'll be able to surge significantly in the first few weeks, and hopefully the shutdown doesn't go past that point, because otherwise it's going to get pretty tough. Let's see. Now I do want to point out that the third prong is actually the biggest of them all, and I don't want to overlook this. Most of the way that people who are food insecure are receiving help is through our wonderful network of 300 partner agencies who are deep in the neighborhoods and serving families when they're struggling. Those partners are going to keep working, and they're going to be doing most of the distribution, and that will not require the pre-registration. We are providing extra food for those sites, but we are to keep them from being overwhelmed. That's why we're doing this extra work, and our partners behind us doing extra work as well. And then I also want to just recognize that our partner food banks, Galveston County Food Bank and Montgomery County Food Bank, are doing the same thing, working, ramping up to serve their partners in their counties, so that we can, in the whole Houston metro area, we can be stepping up because the community wants us to do this, and these families will desperately need us to do so. So to talk more, I want to introduce Amanda McMillan, the President and CEO of the United Way of Greater Houston.
Thank you, Brian. Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Amanda McMillan. I'm President and CEO of United Way of Greater Houston. And we're so proud and frankly grateful to be able to partner with the Houston Food Bank to help our neighbors get the help they need in these challenging times. Again, as Brian's already alluded to, a big part of the role we play here in helping people get access to critical resources and programs and get access to help and hope is through our 211 Texas United Way helpline. The 211 Texas United Way helpline is the number to call when you don't know who to call, and we are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. 211 is ready to direct our neighbors to need and to the available distribution sites, not just for food, but for other basic needs, should they need those. And for those of you who need help and want to reach out to 211, you can go to unitedwayhouston.org. All of the ways to contact 211 are right on our homepage of our website right now. I will also tell you now, there are 3 very easy ways to connect with 211. You can dial 211 from your phone, and a caring United Way call specialist will answer. You can text 211 Houston to 898-211 to request nearby food pantries in your zip code. You can email us at help@unitedwayhouston.org, or you can also actually directly research our 211 database, the self-service version of that, at unitedwayhouston.org. We are also making the following additional investments to support Houston Food Bank and our neighbors during this time. We're increasing our staff as needed to serve as many neighbors as possible during this anticipated increase in requests for help. We are building out additional capacity for food deliveries to homebound individuals, and also providing transportation to and from food pantries for those who need it through United Way's RIDE program in 211. We are also supporting Houston Food Bank's efforts to recruit volunteers to support those special distributions and also get the food ready here, as Brian already alluded to. I was Happy to see an army of our friends from ExxonMobil here ready to get some of that work done as I walked in here this morning. And we're also very pleased to announce a $50,000 donation to Houston Food Bank to support their supplemental distributions during this time of increased need. I'll touch on again a point that Brian's always made, and we do see this as we all serve our missions collectively across the community. Even with the best efforts of Houston's dedicated nonprofit community, there are rarely, if ever, enough resources to meet all of the needs across Greater Houston, especially when you have a major food program like SNAP temporarily cease operations. So when you think about the size of that need, think about the Houston Food Bank. We are so blessed to have the largest food bank in the country here in Greater Houston. And for every one meal that the Houston Food Bank provides, SNAP provides 9 to demonstrate that need in that scale. We have over 3.56 million Texans who receive SNAP benefits. You've already heard how many hundreds of thousands of people access those benefits every month right here in our area. In our 4-county service area for Greater Houston's United Way, it's 770,000 neighbors a month. You may also not know that many of those who get a little extra help from food banks and food pantries are employed. They are working hard every day, but struggling to make ends meet with increasing costs of childcare, housing, and food. At United Way, we know these working neighbors as ALICE, Asset Limited Income Constrained Employed. They represent 28% of households across our 4-county service area. And that's in addition to the 14% of households across our community struggling on incomes below the federal poverty line. So when a program like SNAP gets disrupted, it really does put a meaningful additional strain on an already stretched food bank and food pantry system. Many in our community may be realizing for the first time today how much of the basic needs assistance that our community relies on is supported by government grant funding. But we also know that when our neighbors need us, our generous Greater Houston community answers the call. We are at our best when we are united for our neighbors. It takes all of us. So part of my job here today is to ask all of you to join us, whether that is through donations of your dollars, food, or your time. No donation is too small. Every gift of funds, food, or time will absolutely make a difference for someone right here in our community. As always, our goal at United Way of Greater Houston is to help every neighbor in need not just land on their feet, but stay there. So thank you in advance for joining us in this effort, and thank you to Brian, the team at the Houston Food Bank, and all of our incredible community partners who are stepping up in this time of need.
I'd now like to welcome Pastor James Lee, who is the senior pastor at one of our great partners, Bethel's Heavenly Hands.
Good morning to everyone. My name is James Lee, and I am the president of Bethel's Heavenly Hands, a food pantry that was once a church food pantry, but now is a community staple. And we're here today. All the numbers have been discussed, and all the need has been talked about, but I want to represent those that are on the ground. We serve over 15,000 people a month in Harris, Fort Bend, Brazoria, and Wharton counties. So we have a clear view of both rural and urban peoples and how they're being affected, not only by the shutdown, but also by the cuts. We know that though their circumstances may differ, we know that the effects are the same. There are people that need the resources. There are people that need access. And that's what we're here to do as one of the partners, one of the many Houston Food Bank partners. We're here to give access to those that actually have the need. We've noticed an uptick in families that are applying for benefits in anticipation for the SNAP cuts. We've noticed also there's been new registrants for people that have been affected by the government shutdown. Mainly seniors and kids and working families, those are the ones who have seemingly been affected the most. That's the noticeable change that we have found here in the last few weeks. And what we're here to do today, what I'm here to do today, is to remind Houston, to remind everyone that since we've been a Houston Food Bank partner since 2010, we've seen hurricanes, we've seen winter storms, we've seen all sorts of disaster. It's the exact same effect that we need to have in those times as well. In any time of crisis, in any time of disaster, we're going to partner with the Houston Food Bank as one of their largest partners to make sure that those resources get to the community. We need help. We need help financially. We need help also with people volunteering, and also for folks to give us more tangible resources as well. Even though we're extending our hours as a pantry, that extension requires more manpower. That extension puts a little stress on our staff. So we're asking that people would step up and stand up right now. It doesn't matter which side of the aisle you're on. People that are hurting are people that are hurting. And Democrats hurt just as much as Republicans, just as believers hurt as much as non-believers. Our responsibility as Houstonians, as the Houston Food Bank, and as a food pantry is to make sure that we get the resources to the people that need the resources. So my plea is that you would reach out and that you would come out and you would serve and give as much of your time, your talent, and your treasure as possible. We're here to support the food bank. We're here to support Houston, and we're here to step up. Our mission is clear, that we're going to stand in the gap for those that can't stand in the gap right now. We're going to continue to do this. We've been doing it since 2010, and we'll do it now, and we'll do it from time in times of the future. So thank you for your time. Thank you for allowing us to be here to stand, and I'll let you know, and Brian, I'll let you know, Bethel's Heavenly Hands, we're always going to be here. We always have been, and nothing's going to stop us now. Thank you.
Very well said. So we've weathered crises together before. I hate to, for us to be as community expert in disaster response, but we are, and we'll get through this. It is important, though, to note there is no cavalry coming this time. Normally, after a disaster, the rest of the country, helps out the affected community. In this case, we're all in the same boat. Normally, the federal government will step in to provide assistance. In this case, the federal government is the cause of the crisis in the first place. So we've got to rally together. And the ways, first off, donate if you can. That would make a huge difference. The reality is food insecurity isn't about food even in the best of times. And in a case like this, people are going to be struggling to pay their rent, et cetera. But the one advantage we have with food is it's where we can get great leverage on the dollar, where by pursuing items like you see there, we get multiple dollars worth of food for every dollar we spend, so we can maximize the amount of assistance we provide. But that's also not possible without volunteering. Yes, we will need volunteers to the super sites, but even more than that, the items that we are able to kind of step the gas on are the items that require the most volunteer work in order to get it ready for distribution. I want to thank HEB and our Houston Texans for already making significant gifts to help make it possible for us to step up like this. And the final thing that people can do is just be an advocate for good information, so that people know this is how it works. This is the assistance that the community is doing. Houston always steps up. We're going to step up this time. The final word I want to say is just kind of a note of apology to the family. To the families that are going through this. This is not a natural crisis. We as a society are doing this. We don't have to be doing this. I'm sorry you're going through that. We're going to do our best. We're going to help. Thank you.
Questions for anybody standing in front of you?
Tell us where this emotion is coming from. I see you getting a little emotional. Can we kind of talk about just what you've been hearing from families about how tough this is?
Yes. Actually, one of the other people who are here on the front lines probably do a great job, and I've already spoken so much.
It's Mark Brown from West Houston Assistance Ministries, and when you have a family come to WHAM, West Houston Assistance Ministries, and there's little children, it's hard not to be affected, and actually it's moving to see my colleague here, Brian, affected, because this is real people affected by real needs, and it's not a natural disaster. This is something that can be averted. It's by design, and it's very upsetting. So there's levels, I can't speak for Brian, but for me there's levels in there, levels of frustration that the federal government is letting this happen. and that it's affecting Americans the way it is absolutely devastating. And what we've coming, as Brian eloquently explained, and Amanda, is that we've got a tidal wave of great need coming. And hopefully it won't be, but if it continues the way it is, it's going to be catastrophic. And it's going to be very, very difficult. So certainly at the front line, I see it every day, and it's very difficult, very emotional. And what is particularly hard, just to finish, is knowing right now we don't have the resources, but we hope through this press conference and through what Brian and Amanda are doing, and my partners here, is we're able to increase the resources so we can better meet the need that is about to come.
Hi, I'm Tanya Dixon with the Community of Faith Church. I am the director of the Hope Over Hunger Food Distribution. 52 weeks out of the year already, we encounter families who are already in a crisis. Disaster has already knocked at their door, whether it's been declared by anyone else or not. Having to go through this and be faced with this, my phone rings nonstop. It has been since Saturday. And saying, you all are always there for us. Are you going to still be able to be there for us? Can you just give us a little more hope? And that's all they're really looking for, is somebody to be a ray of hope for them, so that they'll know that if they can see hope in us, then they can believe that they're going to be able to have what they need. They can depend on us. I'm so thankful for the Houston Food Bank and all of the partners who partner with the Houston Food Bank and those other philanthropic individuals. Please, let's do what we know to do. I love when Bishop Dixon says that we're one family with one future. You can't get anywhere without me, and I can't get far without you. So let's connect together. Let's struggle together, and in the struggle and through the struggle, we'll win together. Keep hope alive.
Any other questions?
I have one. I don't know if you mentioned it, but what does the future of the community look like if this goes past a funding?
Yeah. So it's important to recognize that the real, okay, you know, there was a lot of attention at the beginning of the shutdown. The reality is the impact for families for most families was low at the beginning, and so it's kind of maybe have led to kind of a false assumption of how this will play out. We're now in the period where it's very real impact for a large number of families. But it's important to recognize that it's not a scenario where that level of impact will stay the same for those families. It will get significantly worse for those families as the shutdown goes on. You miss one paycheck, that's bad. You miss 3 paychecks, for almost anybody, that's a complete disaster. So as we're trying to respond, the level of need will continue to rise at a significant rate the longer the shutdown continues. And we can surge in donations. But just to be blunt, the way that philanthropy works is, you know, people respond to a crisis much more than they respond to an ongoing problem. So as this looks more like an ongoing problem, philanthropy will unlikely keep up. And if the government's not stepping up, we're not going to be able to do what's needed, and these families are going to be in a tragic situation.
If any of you want a one-on-one interview, let us know. We can take you to different areas. We do have a Spanish speaker available for that. And any of the partner agencies, if any of you speak Spanish as well, let us know. We'll connect you. Did you have something?
I was just going to add one more thing. The other dynamic at play here right now is that this press conference and the efforts today are to address a current disruption in SNAP services. It's important to know that there are also other changes coming to SNAP For example, starting at the beginning of next month, there are new work requirements going into place for certain populations across our community who have previously been exempted from those requirements. So for individuals who are veterans who have been experiencing homelessness, who have recently aged out of the foster care system, who are between the ages of 55 and 64, those previous exemptions from the work requirements will no longer exist. And so there are also some systems level dynamics that we are also working through as a community and as a network to ensure we do everything we can to maximize access to benefits for individuals across our community. So even absent this current disruption, there's a lot of work happening in the background to make sure we are getting assistance to the people who need it most and can help individuals who may have new barriers to service help navigate through those barriers.
Thank you all very much for